Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's now 3 o'clock. The Portland Trailblazers get 2 more days off. They host the Kings Thursday night at Moda Center, tip-off at 7. The Rip City Drive is going to be live from Moda Center at 3. Chris Burkhart will have game day live at 5 on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. The Trailblazers Ticket Tuesday today. I've got Trailblazer tickets to give away. Just listen to me at 5 for your chance to win. College football playoff will start Friday with Oklahoma and Bama from Norman. The Tide are a 1-point favorite. Triple headers Saturday, including James Madison and Oregon from Autzen. Ducks are favored by 21.5. I'll be live from Spirit Mountain Casino Saturday. Special edition of the Rip City Drive, noon to 3. Join me for the college football playoff. Giveaways. There's going to be drink specials and more. 18 screens and a 165-inch big screen. Spirit Mountain Casino is your place to bet on college sports. From the NFL, Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel said he wouldn't rule out benching Tua after a blowout loss in Pittsburgh on Monday Night Football. All right, I'm not going to lie to you today. I am scared, and I've got a good reason for it. In my experience in radio, and I've been doing this now for quite some time, as has Michael Shacker, anytime you change or move studios, there's a very good likelihood that you're going to have a lot of technical difficulties. And I think if you've listened to me over the years, you understand that I hate technical difficulties more than just about anything. It gives me a major headache. It makes me want to have an aneurysm and die. It just drives me bonkers. But today is a brand new day where we are broadcasting live from a brand new studio, the one that Mark Mason used to have and broadcast from for years. We are doing some type of consolidation in our building out here in Tigard. And so we are moving into a brand new studio today. And it's awesome because the studio is a much better setup in terms of control room where Shacker's at. We have an update room, and I can see through the glass and be able to have a good line of sight. The studio's bigger, and it's just a better setup. But there's also the opportunity for a haunted studio today. So I'm just letting you know right now, I am worried about this. If there are any technical difficulties or any issues that pop up between now and 6 p.m., I'm giving you an apology ahead of time.
We're going to break the streak.
That's right. We got to break it.
100% chance it's going to go wrong.
We got to break it today. But here we are, Michael Shacker, Chad Doing. And here's the plan for the show today. Joel Gunderson is going to join me coming up in 20 minutes. We're going to talk about the Ducks. The college football playoff is going to kick off on Friday night in Norman with Bama and Oklahoma. I'll have family, of course, at the game. And then we got the triple header on Saturday, including James Madison and Oregon from Autzen. The Ducks a massive favorite by more than 3 touchdowns. We also have Ole Miss and Tulane, and also Miami and Texas A&M. I will be live at Spirit Mountain Casino on Saturday, broadcasting a special edition of the Rip City Drive from noon until 3. I'm going to have giveaways. There'll be drink specials down there. And if you haven't been down to Spirit Mountain Casino, it really is the place to go to watch your football games, especially college football, because you can bet on college sports, including the Oregon Ducks at Spirit Mountain Casino. The sports book is awesome. It's Vegas style, a lot of cushy chairs, wide open seating, and 18 screens that are surrounding you, including a 165-inch big screen. So it's a great way to do it. And here's the best part for you guys out there. If you sneak down to Spirit Mountain Casino and join me, you will avoid having your significant other get on you about the honeydew list, about things that need to get done in the yard. So come down and join me on Saturday. I'll be there from noon to 3. Ducks game will kick off at 4. Bet MGM Sportsbook at Spirit Mountain Casino. I'll broadcast live there from Friday as well at MGM Sportsbook at Spirit Mountain Casino. I'll broadcast live there from Friday as well. Justin Ballinger, the sportsbook manager, the genius that gave you the Saints over the Panthers on Sunday. He's going to join me for the show on Friday and also on Saturday. So we're going to go in depth on the matchups, the point spreads, and the money movement for all the games. So it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that you join me down there. The rest of the way on the show, Alex Brink, our college football and NFL insider, former Washington State Cougar. He's going to join me at 4 o'clock, and then at 5:20, Sean Heiken, our Trailblazer insider from Rose Garden Report, will join the show, and he'll tell us about the box. What is the box? What do you put in the box? We'll get all the details on the box with the Trailblazers and Sean Heiken coming up at 5:20. And Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday, I think we have multiple pairs to give away. So I'll give you details on that, but we got Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday coming up at 5 o'clock. So your chance to win, all you have to do is listen to me for a chance to win. If you want to reach out to me, you can do so on the Rip City Radio text line at 88528, 88528. You can also call the show at 503-248-0620. Now, a couple of updates. Today, the crew came out to take care of the leaves in my yard. And I think I've told you this, is that Isaac, during this time of year, has what he calls his landscaping business, where he's open all hours for work. And he's very bitter right now because he was taking too long. I called in the crew, and so he was over there bagging up some leaves before they got there, and he was examining their work. So I left when the crew was still in action, but finally I got the crew to show up, and they're getting the job done. So that's very nice. But Isaac was surveying the situation when I walked away. He was very upset, and every time he walked by me this morning, he was mumbling words in only the way that Isaac could, so I thought that was pretty funny. Now, I looked at the list, and for you Duck fans out there, something to keep an eye on. Have you guys taken a chance to see the list of quarterbacks who are going to be entering the portal in college football, who are going to be available for teams out there that might be looking for a quarterback? Now, I think that Dylan Moore is going to enter the NFL draft. So I think Moore is going to go to the draft, and I think that's going to put the Ducks in a situation where they're probably going to be looking for another experienced veteran quarterback. But some of the names that are coming out in the portal are pretty awesome. You've got Dylan Raiola from Nebraska. He's going to be in the portal. DJ Lagaway from Florida. Another really excellent quarterback from Cincinnati, Brendan Sorsby. Byram Brown from USF. And my favorite, Sam Levitt from Arizona State. Now, if I'm the Ducks, I do whatever is necessary to go after Sam Levitt. He went to Westland High School. He's from the area. He knows the lay of the land here in the Northwest, and I believe he's the best quarterback available in this cycle of the portal. So if I'm the Ducks, I go all in on Sam Levitt. Now, Sam Levitt has been terrific during his 2 years as starter at Arizona State. He began his career at Michigan State, but when they made a change at coach and Jonathan Smith took over, he transferred to ASU. And in his first year as starter at Arizona State, he proved to be clutch, made big plays. He was great under pressure, and he led the Sun Devils to a playoff berth, and they nearly beat Texas in overtime. Now, this year was cut short because of a foot injury, and the reason why Sam Levitt is looking to transfer at this point, it's very simple. He had the foot injury. He needs to rehabilitate his draft stock, and Arizona State, even though they've got a great coach in Kenny Dillingham, one of the best in the country, and it's a great area and a great place to go to school and play football, they were a senior-laden team. So they've got a bunch of players who are entering the NFL draft, and they're going to have a lot of turnover. So it's probably in the best interest of Levitt to transfer to a school that's going to be in a better position to compete for a championship next year, one that will have better talent around him so he can really showcase his skills. But if I'm the Ducks, I go all in on Sam Levitt. And I've watched every one of his games as starter. There's a lot of things I like about him. One, just the competitive nature that he brings to the football field. Ultra competitive, really cares about wins and losses, and he's going to put in everything he's got to be the best quarterback he can be. So very competitive and a very good leader in the locker room. Some other aspects of his game, he's got very nimble feet. You can utilize his legs in the run game as a weapon. He is accurate with the football. And then his scrambling ability when he's buying time and avoiding defenders, he does a great job of keeping his eyes downfield to where he can deliver the football for some big plays. Sam Levitt is everything you want in a quarterback. And the great thing about Oregon, if you look at the teams that have interest in Sam Levitt right now, all the best schools: Indiana, Texas Tech, Miami, Oregon is in the mix. All the best schools are going to be looking for a quarterback have interest in Levitt. And this is a great opportunity for Levitt. One, because he can go to a school that's ready to compete. One, he can go to a school with more experienced talent around him. Obviously, no matter where he goes, he'll get good coaching. But he's also going to have a chance to cash in and get some big-time dollars before he makes the jump to the NFL. So if I'm the Ducks, knowing that Moore is likely to go to the NFL draft, I'm all in on whatever it takes to get Sam Levitt. And of all those guys, Levitt, Raiola, Lagaway from Florida, Sorsby from Cincinnati, or Brown from USF, Sam Levitt, to me, is by far the best quarterback available in the portal. And for me personally, he's my favorite quarterback to watch in college football. And all he's done is just author big win after big win after big win during his time at ASU. And keep in mind, this year, before he went out with the foot injury, he delivered the only loss that Texas Tech has suffered on the season. So there you have it. Big fan of Sam Levitt, and if I'm the Ducks, I am all in. Now, in regard to the games that are coming up this weekend in the college football playoff, I mean, obviously I like Oregon to win. I think James Madison will provide a stiffer test than what people realize because they're a really well-coached team, and for a smaller school, they have pretty good talent. But the Ducks are going to win. They're going to advance and take on Texas Tech. In the other games, I like Oklahoma to upset Alabama. Bama's a short 1.5-point favorite. But the Sooners' defense, of all those schools that are in the playoff, I think they've got the best defensive unit. And they've done a terrific job all year. And I think they're going to be able to create pressure and frustrate the Bama offense into mistakes, which is going to lead to a very close, low-scoring Oklahoma victory. Now, the one thing I can't figure out is why John Mateer and that Sooner offense, ever since he went out with the hand injury and came back, their offense has been a disaster. It's been garbage. But their defense is so good, and I've watched enough football to know that this time of year, when you get into these type of games, defense will carry you a long way. So I have full confidence in the Sooner defense. I think they get a close win over Bama. In Miami and Texas A&M, I'm going to lean Hurricanes and take the Canes to win this game. They've got experience at quarterback. They've got power and strength at the offensive line. And I love the way they've been at the line of scrimmage throughout the course of the year. But I think Mario Cristobal gets a bit of a monkey off his back and gets the win. I expect the Canes to advance. Obviously, Ole Miss, I think they'll win and advance as well. They're taking on Tulane. Now, Tulane's a pretty darn good football team, and they've got an experienced quarterback who came over from BYU last year, and Jake Retzloff. So there you have it. Now, if you're on hold, since we have a guest coming up, let's go out to Paul. I think he wants to comment. Let's go ahead and take that since we have a guest coming up. Let's go out to Paul. I think he wants to comment on Sam Levitt, who is going to be transferring from Arizona State. Shacker, can you bring him up? We go out to Paul right now in Milwaukee. Paul, welcome to the Rip City Drive. What's on your mind?
Oh, thanks, Chad. I'm just curious. So Sam Levitt, it'd be nice to have a local kid come back. Will this put the Ducks over the salary cap? Will they have to give up some first-round picks to Arizona State? I'm just concerned how it could affect Oregon salary cap-wise.
Oh, it won't. There's no salary cap in college football, so you just sign him to whatever you want. You bring him in and get the job done, and he'll play quarterback for you.
Yeah, that's the problem. This is the stuff that's making college football so unwatchable. I'm just being sarcastic. Unwatchable product, in my opinion. I know you'll disagree, but unwatchable product, in my opinion. I know you'll disagree, but just very unwatchable product, in my opinion. I know you'll disagree, but just call it what it is. Semi-professional, professional football. Quit calling them student athletes.
Well, I don't call them student athletes, and I don't think anyone else does anymore. They are paid professionals.
The ADs do. The athletic directors are always calling them student athletes.
Okay, I understand that. So what would be your way to resolve the situation then?
Well, unfortunately, it's like American healthcare. It's just too big of a problem with too many people involved and with huge money. It's created such a mess. I think they're going to have to just be like European club teams, be separate from the schools, just call Eugene Fighting Ducks or the Mighty Ducks from Eugene. They can be the Arizona or Tucson Wildcats, whatever college it is, but stop having them be affiliated with the schools.
Okay,
coaches are leaving every year, players leaving every year. there's no loyalty on either side. It's hard to know what a team is. I mean, we're the same age. I mean, when we were kids, you knew all the UNLV players, the Duke players, because they're all coming back. Oh, the sophomore players are going to be juniors next year. They're going to be seniors. Those days are forever done, and the product is watered down. And it's greed has ruined so much in sports, and this is another aspect of it.
Okay, so who is your college football team, Paul? Are you a Duck fan?
No, I'm not. I have none, unfortunately. I still follow because I'm a hypocrite. I love sports, but I went to University of Arizona. But I've adopted the Beavers because they don't get much love. I feel bad for what's become of their program. I'm not going to be able to affect change, but I think what's going on in college sports is really disgusting. And all these other sports are being marginalized on the women's side and the men's side, whether it's wrestling or baseball programs, because they're not the money makers like football. And that's the one thing that matters now for college sports is football. And here we are. Players transfer from school to school, Michigan State to Arizona State. Now I'm 20 years old, and I deserve everything in the world. Come pay me big money. It's this surreal world that we live in where 18-year-olds are given so much power. It doesn't exist anywhere else.
Well,
you know that.
These 18-year-olds
Do a
are
great
also
job.
capable of doing things that other players aren't. Like, I can't throw a football and lead a football team like Sam Levitt can. He's got a special talent. All right, Paul, I appreciate that. That's Paul in Milwaukee. He didn't answer the question on whether or not the Ducks should go after Sam Levitt, but if I'm the Ducks, I pony up all the jack and go after Sam Levitt. That guy is a difference maker and a big-time football player. We'll come back, and when we do, we'll talk with Joel Gunderson. We'll focus in on the Ducks in this matchup with James Madison and how they shape up against the rest of the field in the college football playoff. Live from a brand-new studio here in Taggart, I'm Chad Doing. You got the Rip City Drive, and your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Right. High five.
All right, very happy to welcome back to the show to focus in on the Ducks, who kick off 4:30 Saturday against James Madison in the college football playoff. Is Joel Gunderson. Hey, Joel, I want to start with this with the quarterback Dante Moore. Do you expect him to enter the NFL draft after the season?
Contrary to popular belief, I don't. I really think that at this point, a lot of the signs internally are pointing to this guy coming back. And I think it's important to remember that, in this day and age where we hear so much about these college kids with NIL and now they have agents and they have people around them. And unfortunately, you hear a lot of stories about people that are steering these kids in the wrong direction. And I really think that Dante has a special group of people around him. And he's also a very unique kid, as we've seen, for his ability to come and his willingness to transfer and sit. And I think there's a lot of belief that the people that are steering him behind the scenes are really looking at the long-term picture of this thing and have their eye on not the draft position, but maybe that second NFL contract, which is where a lot of these guys, that's where they make the generational money. And, the reality is Dante Moore has not started a lot of games in college. And, for, a chunk of the second half of the season, he's struggled a little bit with, injuries to his receivers and things like that. But, I think based on what we're hearing, there's a lot of belief that he knows that there's a lot of benefit to coming back and getting an entire extra season of snaps under his belt, and his ability to go, he'll still be a top 10 pick next year, barring some sort of injury. His ability to go into the NFL with that much more experience and be ready to take the step from day one, I think it's a big thing. So at this point, barring an actual national championship run from Oregon, which at that point, I think anything's on the table, I would expect him to come back.
Wow, that's very interesting. So even if what if he's projected to be a top 5 pick?
Again, with the ability for Oregon to pay him a nice chunk of money to come back for another year, the insurance policy that he could get, again, barring anything catastrophic, he's not probably going to drop that much. But a guy as talented as he is, and let's face it, there's not that many dynamic generational quarterbacks in the college game right now. So even this year or next year, I don't think there's much risk for him coming back and dropping a bunch in the, for this year's projection to next year's. So, again, it'll ultimately be his decision, obviously, but I really do believe that there's a belief that, again, it's not about the draft choice or where you're going in the draft, but that second contract is big. And for him to be able to come back and get over that 20-game threshold of games started in college and go in with that much more experience, his ability with his arm talent and his very clear football IQ and everything we've seen that gave scouts coming out of high school this thought that, like, this guy has got something special and unique to him. If he could just get more reps under his belt, I really think he's looking at more of a 10 to 15-year career as opposed to a 3 to 7 year career, for example.
We're talking to Joel Gunderson, so I would love to see him come back. Let's say he does decide to enter the NFL draft. Do you think the Ducks would look to the portal if he makes that decision?
I think it's almost a guarantee they're going to go to the portal no matter what, and I think that's more than likely because you're looking at a situation where you're likely to lose Austin Novosad, probably to Kentucky, to follow Will Stein. Have to imagine a guy like Luke Moga is probably going to go, and I don't think Achilles Smith Jr. is ready yet. So I think even if Dante comes back from an insurance policy standpoint, they'll probably grab someone, maybe a guy from like a lower level that they could bring in as like a senior to be a backup. But yes, if he does choose to go to the NFL draft, 100% guaranteed they will go out and find someone, because the reality is, other than losing Poncho potentially next year, then a few guys on defense, this team is going to be stacked next year, and they're not going to waste a year with a guy in the system that is not ready yet. They're going to go out and get a ready-made guy to step in and play from day one, or they have him on the roster already in Dante. So it'll be interesting, but they're not going to go into next year with someone unproven under center.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, man, if Moore decides to go to the NFL, I would do whatever it took to get Sam Levitt in a Duck jersey.
I think that's the hand-in-glove fit. You bring a Dillingham disciple. He's a local kid, very clearly a guy who steps up on the big stage, will be very experienced, has to know guys on the staff and players on the team. It would be almost too perfect of a fit. So I think either way, from an Oregon standpoint, this is why you're likely going to hear a decision on Dante's future in the next week, because the staff is going to be very honest with him. Like, look, we're going to do everything we can to get you back, But at the same time, if you're going to go, we need to have a contingency plan in place. And,
Yes.
and Levitt's not going to sit out there for very long. So
Yes.
I do think that would be the choice.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's pretty. What a great day and age it is to be a college quarterback. Look at these names here: Dylan Raiola, DJ Lagaway, Brendan Sorsby, Sam Levitt, Byron Brown. Like, these are all guys who are going to be in the portal, and you've got all these top-notch schools with big money looking for quarterback help, like Miami, like Texas Tech, like Indiana. These guys are going to be able to cash in. It's great for the player. It's unreal.
Well, and it is, and honestly, it's great for these programs. I mean, the days of fan bases complaining that, boy, we can't develop a quarterback, and every year we have someone from the portal. Who cares at this point?
Yeah.
Like, if you can have a 1 or 2 year rental for these guys that are polished and ready to go. I mean, it used to be that if you were going to get a quarterback out of the portal, it's because he didn't work out at his previous location for whatever reason.
That's right.
Now it could be for these guys are just looking to upgrade positions. And is it the college game we grew up on? Does it feel as pure? No, it doesn't, but it's the reality. And if you have a roster that's ready to win, it's plug and play. So it's really beneficial for these programs and these quarterbacks.
It's pretty awesome. Joel, I think we all expect Oregon to win the game on Saturday against James Madison. There's no doubt about that. But, I think with this James Madison squad, like, don't you think they're going to be a little bit stiffer competition than what maybe most people think? Because the program, in terms of the players they brought in, the development, and what they've done over the last couple of years, like, James Madison's a pretty impressive group.
They are. This is not going to be a game where Oregon's going to be ahead by 35 points at halftime. And I think if fans are expecting that and going to be disappointed if that's not the case, then they're going to be in for a different afternoon. I mean, this is a game Oregon should win by 20-plus points. And there's, really, unless they come out and play their flattest game of the year, that will likely be the case. But this is going to be one of those games where about midway through the third quarter, you start to see Oregon's size and their depth and their speed start to really wear James Madison down. But again, this is for JMU, this is their Super Bowl. And, these players are going to they're going to say all the right things, but I think deep down they all know this is probably going to be their last game of the season. Now, are they going to go out and play with everything they have to try and prove that's not the case? Absolutely. And that's why you get these teams can be very dangerous. So for Oregon, you just come out and you play clean, you play efficient. They're not going to open up the playbook a whole bunch unless they need to. Ideal situation, you can get 1 or 2 or potentially 3 of these receivers back, play them a handful of snaps, 5-10, get their feet ready and get their feet underneath them and get them ready for January 1st. But Oregon just needs to run the football and stop the run. It's as simple as every game they play. But like you said, those are JMU's strengths. They run the ball well and they stop it. So, Oregon, I think the staff is going to, they learned a lot from last year, but you're not playing Ohio State, and that's the difference. So if this team comes out and is more prepared than they were last year for the Rose Bowl, with the talent gap, at some point it's just the dam will break and Oregon will walk away comfortably. But this one will be a little bit tighter than I think a lot of fans are probably thinking.
Yeah, I agree. You know what's awesome about the Ducks this year? When I look around the playoff field, whether it's Oklahoma or Alabama or Georgia or take your pick, Ohio State, Indiana, like even Ole Miss, these teams are all really stout and strong at the line of scrimmage. And I think that this year, this Duck squad, based on what I've seen with the offensive and defensive lines from the first game up until now, I now truly believe that Oregon can compete at the line of scrimmage with anybody in the playoff field. That's how I see it. What do you think?
I think if you're talking both sides of the ball, lines of scrimmage, I think it's Oregon, it's Georgia, and it's Ohio State. And then if you're talking strictly defensive line, you have to throw Texas Tech in there as well. But yeah, I mean, Oregon they've really have established themselves as this is a team that, again, despite the media narrative you hear from people that clearly don't watch a lot of games and still live off of Oregon's reputation, this team is built up front on both sides of the ball, and that's their strength. And they still have the speed outside, and they still have the dynamic skill players. But if they want to run the ball, Oregon does not win a game like they did at Iowa 3 years ago. They don't win that game potentially even 2 years ago. But every year they have just continued to build and develop those lines up front on both sides. And they're now able to win rock fights, and they can win shootouts. They can win both ways. And I really do think that there are 3 teams left in the playoffs that can do that on both sides. And we saw Georgia. They're starting to look a little scary. And Ohio State, despite the way that thing went against Indiana, they are still right there. And I don't include Indiana in that group in terms of both sides on the line of scrimmage, just because I still don't think Indiana's offensive line is quite up to par where it needs to be. But if you're talking about overall team, obviously they're playing as well as anybody, probably better than anybody. So you have to throw them in there as well. But if you're talking strictly lines of scrimmage, yeah, Oregon is up there. They are officially now with the big boy group.
Who's the team to beat? Is it Ohio State? Is it Indiana? Is it Oregon? Or is it somebody else?
And it's Indiana because they've earned that right. They went from the Cinderella team last year to the darling this year to now. That Ohio State game opened up a lot of eyes because I guarantee you there were a lot of people that hadn't watched Indiana play a whole lot this year. And maybe the only game they really watched them play last year was Ohio State, where they looked thoroughly outmatched. And, I think a lot of people probably thought the Oregon-Indiana game this year was maybe an aberration, maybe a little, okay, maybe Oregon was flat-footed. I think Indiana is just a really good team. And do I think they're the best team? I can't say that for sure. But with what they've done this year, you have to put them in as the team to beat right now. They have all the momentum in the world. They are playing with the biggest chip on their shoulders because at the end of the day, they also know they're Indiana. And when you're talking about name recognition, logo impact, they're probably, 10th place out of 12 in the playoffs right ahead of JMU and Tulane. I mean, this is just not a school that's associated with winning football games. And so the fact that they're in this position, the guys on that team and that coaching staff, they have to be chomping at the bit to get going because they have a chance to make history. I mean, this would be undoubtedly the biggest story that's ever happened in college football in terms of a team coming out of nowhere and winning a championship. So until someone knocks them off the pedestal, I can't think of anyone else that is more the team to beat than they are.
Don't you think we need a 30 for 30 on Curt Cignetti at some point with the work he's done at Indiana? And I've talked to Alex Brink and some others about this. Like, it's not like Indiana's got access to better talent than the rest of these schools, but apparently what he's really good at is identifying players who are in the portal that kind of fit the way he wants to play, and then he coaches them up. Like, it's really impressive. I'm blown away. All right, Joel. I appreciate that. Joel Gunderson was here, and now he's not. But a big thanks to Joel Gunderson. And there he is. He's calling back. We got to get his take on Curt Cignetti. Hey, Joel. We were talking about Curt Cignetti. I want the 30 for 30 on Curt. And what I've been told is that he's just really good at identifying players in the portal that he wants, and they coach him up. I mean, it's really impressive what he's done.
Yep. I hope you got me back here. But, yeah, no, absolutely. And that's what I was saying is, between Indiana and James Madison, there are a lot of players in the playoffs that have Curt Cignetti thumbprint on it. And so, his ability to do this and the fact that he, stayed under the radar for so long, it's interesting where you see a lot of coaches get recycled throughout college that just don't have success. And then you had a guy like him that clearly, from an X's and O's in-game perspective, he might be the best coach in the country. And it'd be hard to dispute that at this point.
Well, I tell you what, Joel, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for talking ball with me. Enjoy your week, and I can't wait until Friday night when the playoff kicks off with Bama and Oklahoma. This is going to be a fun weekend.
How nervous are you for Friday night right now?
Not too nervous because the way I look at that game is pretty simple. Like, Oklahoma's offense has been a disaster, but their defense, I believe, is the best in the nation. And so I think that the defense is going to make it low scoring and force Bama into some mistakes, and I expect Oklahoma to win a close, low-scoring football game. That's how I see it going down.
And I think DeBoer has a venom problem, so I think Oklahoma, that's my pick, absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess what I do when I judge head coaches who take over programs, and a lot of people thought Oklahoma was crazy for going into the SEC, but just like we're seeing with Lanning at Oregon and now Venables at Oklahoma, I look at their side of the ball. And the one thing I know about Oklahoma with Venables, their defense has been outstanding. Lanning came in as a defensive guy. He's got that squad playing really good, and he's building the type of team he wants. So I just look at your expertise and your side of the ball, and when coaches get that side of the ball right first, I'm like, okay, they're doing a good job. So I've been impressed.
Absolutely. Further proof that coaches need 3 to 4 years, too. You have patience with these guys.
Well, exactly. And by the way, speaking of coaches, you and I are both huge fans of Kenny Dillingham. How about Kenny being very wise? He's not being rude in his handling of the Michigan job being open, but he's using it as leverage to crank up some pressure to make sure he gets the support he needs for his assistants and for the school to continue to build the program. I think it's genius.
Yeah, it was a master class in dancing around the questions that he had today. So, if I'm a Sun Devil fan, I'm still a little nervous, but I would like it to see him stay there. I think that's a cool story, and you want to see these big programs not get rewarded for making, the Sharon Moore situation is obviously different, but it's kind of nice to see these other schools hang on to these guys and not let these bullies come in and just take whoever they want. I think it's a cool story. I'd love to see Birmingham State, Arizona State.
Well, exactly. I thought Signetti, when midway through the season, I thought he's definitely going to Penn State. And then we got the news the next day where he's staying at Indiana. I was like, good for them. He's staying. I thought that was
Absolutely.
great. Oh, it's so
Parity.
good.
That's what the sport is.
Yeah, it's been great, man. What a fun year. Well, Joel, enjoy the games, buddy. We'll catch up soon.
Sounds good, friend. Thank you.
There you go. There's Joel Gunderson. That was the first sign of a haunted studio where Joel just disappeared into the abyss, but he popped right back up real quick, so that's good.
I blame the cell phone.
It's got to be a cell phone. Again, I'll ask the question, how is it that I can have a mini computer in my pocket, but yet the basic function of that device is to be able to communicate verbally with someone on a phone call, and you can't do it for a long period of time? You would have thought that by now they'd have that figured out. All right, we'll keep things cruising here. Alex Brink, former Coug, going to join me at 4 o'clock. Trailblazer ticket Tuesday at 5. You got the Rip City Drive.
I think my job is to try to do.
All right, Rip City Drive, Chad Doing here, and the haunted studio has begun. As we were at break, all of a sudden I can't hear anything in my headphones, so that could be considered a serious problem. But we're going to make it through today, so there you have it. We are changing, and we are in a brand new studio today, which is exciting. But with that comes some technical difficulties. We got Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday coming up at 5. Alex Brink is going to join me here at the top of the hour. But I wanted to play this because we had mentioned it with Joel Gunderson. My favorite coach in college football is Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State. And he is in an interesting situation right now where you've got the Michigan job, which is one of the best jobs in the country that is open after the firing of Sherrone Moore. And you've got Kenny Dillingham, who's one of the hottest commodities in college football. Now, he's in the process of negotiating a new deal with Arizona State, but nothing is done. So what he is doing, like any smart businessman would do, is he's using the Michigan opening as leverage to drive up more support for him, for his assistant staff, and, of course, to make sure he's got full backing from the school to have all resources available to be able to build a roster the way you need to be able to compete in today's college football. So take a listen to Kenny Dillingham and his play on words. This is how you get things done in college football.
I think my job is to try to do whatever I can for the people that are with me, right? The people that are in the foxhole, the coaches that are in the foxhole with me, is I got to do whatever I can to fight for those people, for my family, for everything from that perspective. And kind of, and I love it here. I've said that since day one. That's absolutely never changing. Absolutely never changing. So, yeah, that piece is never changing. I think
So there you go. That's Kenny Dillingham, using that situation with Michigan to make sure he got and gets and continues to get the proper support from ASU. It's pretty smart. And I want Kenny Dillingham to stay at ASU because I'm a Sun Devil fan. I respect the work that he's done. I think he's terrific, but they absolutely need him to stay there. But if you're Michigan and you've got the resources they have, you've got the name recognition and the brand that they have, I mean, you have your access to so many different coaches. There are a lot of NFL coaches that would be very interested in a job at Michigan because you're not in a small podunk little town. You've got easy access to the airport. It's a big-time program that pays extremely well. And there are a lot of advantages to that. But I respect Kenny Dillingham. Loved him at Oregon as offensive coordinator. I think he's done a terrific job at ASU. And he's one of those young coaches that does not fight the way that the system is currently. Now, we had Paul call in earlier who was complaining about the state of college football. And I understand for people who have grown up with college sports being a certain way for a long period of time, how change can be scary and frustrating. But we're not going to go back to the way things were. So we've got to embrace the way that things are now. Now, what I'm most excited about is the power that the players now have. The NCAA for years really raped and pillaged the players when the NCAA was raking in all sorts of dollars, and they vilified the players when they would get a free meal, when they would make a couple of bucks from signing an autograph. They would vilify and penalize these players. It was ridiculous. And so now the players are in a day and age where they have freedom of movement, which is only fair based on coaches being able to jump ship whenever they want. They have access to be able to capitalize off their name, image, and likeness. And so I love it. I love it for the player. I mean, this is why it's great for a player like Sam Levitt. Or take a guy like Bo Nix. Look at what Bo Nix was able to do. He was in a place in Auburn where it wasn't going well. He was under severe criticism. He was able to enter the portal, go to Oregon, make some money playing college football, and revitalize his career and improve his draft stock. He enters the draft, he gets taken by the Broncos, and now he's in a position to where he might go to a Super Bowl this year. Take a look at somebody like Dante Moore. You know, he's at UCLA, went back to Oregon, sat for a year, and now with the experience he's had, the opportunity to go back to Oregon and put himself in the best possible situation to where he's going to be a top player taken in the draft, and he's got a chance to win a national championship. And now Sam Levitt. He started out at Michigan State. They had a change at head coach. He was able to move to Arizona State, got paired up with Kenny Dillingham. It turned out to be perfect. Played with Cam Scatterbo, went to a playoff. He got hurt. The team that was surrounding him at ASU has a bunch of seniors who are going to be gone. It's going to be a different look team. And now he's got a chance to move to a school with better support in terms of veteran experience. He'll get national exposure because the team he goes to will be a national championship contender. And he's got a chance to revitalize his draft stock and put himself in the best situation possible as he continues to move forward. I think that's awesome. And what a great opportunity it is. Now, the downside is that until we have a college football commissioner and we have some type of, system and standard that's put into place to where they can create some type of equal footing, then the schools with all the money are going to continue to take advantage of the situation. And they can right now because it's the wild, wild west. So I'm hoping at some point we'll get a college football commissioner and we'll have some type of standardized new look college football with the way the system is now. But the problem is we have 4 major conferences between the SEC, the ACC, the Big Ten, and the Big 12. You have 4 commissioners who are out doing whatever is best in the interest of their conference, and so we have no uniformity. And so that's going to continue to be an issue. And I think what I would do is maybe look to split up the group of 5 schools and the high-level college football programs into 2 different groups. So the group of 5 can have a playoff where they get to crown a national champion. And, of course, you've got the usual regular playoff that we see now where the big-time schools can crown a national champion. But I'm all about the player movement. You know, the players got screwed over for years and years. We now have a playoff. We have a true national champion that's being determined on the field, which is great. And players have freedom of movement and the ability to make change. And the reason why that's good, too, is that some of the decisions you make are going to be good. Some that you make are going to be bad. Some of the decisions you make are going to be good. Some that you make are going to be bad. And so they're being placed into a situation where as young adults, they got to make big-time decisions. And that can be a good experience for them as well. All right, telephone number is 503-248-0620, 503-248-0620. We'll come back. Alex Brink, former Coug, is going to join us, our college football and NFL insider here on the Rip City Drive. Hey, what's going on? The Trailblazers are going to get 2 more days off. They'll host the Kings Thursday night at Moda Center. That tip-off will be at 7. The Rip City Drive is going to be live from Moda Center at 3. Chris Burkhart will have game day at 5, and it's all in your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. We have Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday today. I've got tickets to give away for upcoming Trailblazer games. We'll do it at 5. Just listen to me for your chance to win. The college football playoff kicks off Friday with Oklahoma and Bama from Norman. The Tide are a 1-point favorite. Triple headers Saturday, including James Madison, Oregon from Autzen. The Ducks are favored by 21.5. I'll be live from Spirit Mountain Casino from noon to 3. Join me for the college football playoff. I'll have giveaways. There'll be drink specials and more. 18 screens and a 165-inch big screen. Spirit Mountain Casino is your place to bet on college sports. And from the NFL, Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel said he wouldn't rule out benching Tua after a blowout loss in Pittsburgh on Monday Night Football. Alex Brink going to join me next on the Rip City Drive. All right, big shout out to Michael Shacker and our engineer Joseph Standish, who were working feverishly to get me sound back in my ears, and I got it back during the updates. So there we go, and very happy to go to the phones right now and welcome back our college football and NFL insider, former Coug, and he's now with E4 Sports. It's Alex Brink. Alex, what's up, my brother?
What's going on, Chad? How we doing?
Oh, fabulous. Getting into a new studio, which is always dicey in the radio biz because of technical difficulties,
Sure.
but man, I'm excited to talk college football with you. In fact, I want to talk some quarterbacks. I can't believe the crop of guys that are going to be entering the portal. So I just want to walk by a few of them. And I know you're familiar with a number of these guys, but I just want to get a quick take on each of these guys and what they have to offer as these other schools are looking to bring in some experience. But let's start with Dylan Raiola, most recently at Nebraska. What's your take on his game?
I mean, he is an elite physical talent. Can throw with the best of them. Moves pretty well for definitely a bigger bodied guy. High confidence individual. Again, this day and age, I think it's just we're going to list all the names, but I saw a stat where this crop of quarterbacks, I think it's considered the 23 class, right? That we had at the Elite 11. There was 20 of them down in LA. 13 of them are either in the transfer portal this year or already on their second school, which just speaks to kind of the nature of college football these days, honestly.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What about DJ Lagaway, who's entering the portal most recently from Florida?
Well, I really like DJ. I mean, I spent a lot of time with him at Elite 11. I think he's got real physical tools. He's a great athlete, strong arm. Again, when I saw him go to Florida, I felt like he was going to have success there, and there was kind of a lot of things outside of his control, in my opinion, that maybe didn't work out. I would bet he's one of those guys that if he finds the right home, could have some real success in a second stop.
What about Brendan Sorsby, most recently at Cincinnati?
I mean, Sorsby's got all sorts of experience, right? I've been in Indiana when kind of pre-Indiana, pre-Kurt Signetti Indiana. Really productive at Cincinnati. Yeah, he's maybe arguably the number one guy, I guess I would say. But a lot of that has to do with his experience and then his kind of recent success, I would say. I think he's a guy that is really special and is going to play on Sundays.
What about Aiden Childs? Of course, Oregon State, now Michigan State. Now he's going to jump into the portal.
I've loved Aiden Childs since he was in high school. I mean, when he committed originally to Oregon State in that Jonathan Smith staff, I thought, they for sure had their guy of the future. He was there for a year and followed Smith to Michigan State. That's kind of not worked out for everybody, candidly. And so I think for Aiden, this is, going to be a best case scenario. Again, he's going to land somewhere where he's going to have a lot of success. I wonder if he comes back to the West Coast. He's a California kid. If he tries to get back west, I think that might be more comfortable for him.
And finally, our favorite guy, or at least my favorite guy, Sam Levitt, Arizona State, started at Michigan State, transferred to be with Kenny Dillingham, and now is going to have a chance to have his pick of the litter. What's your take on Sam?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, Sam, kind of like all these guys, he can kind of go wherever he wants, right? He showed in that freshman season when he took him to the CFP that took Arizona State to the CFP really how special he can be. I think this year was, he had an injury and the roster turned over a little bit for sure. So, in the end, the challenge with anybody playing in the Big 12, right, Chad, is that Texas Tech is going to outspend everybody in that league. So, if you're playing in the Big 12 as a quarterback, you're going to have a hard time getting to the college football playoff because ultimately Texas Tech's going to have the best roster of money come by. And when you look at Cincinnati and Sorsby or Leavitt and Arizona State, I mean, that's certainly part of the factor.
Yeah, there's no question about it. All right, Kirby Moore coming over from Missouri, head coach at Washington State. Now, what's your take on the hire?
Really like the hire. I mean, Kirby Moore is from Prosper, Washington, obviously Kellen Moore's brother, the head coach of the Saints. And he grew up going to Washington State football games. It's kind of the best version of somebody with ties to Washington State, that also has the chops to, do some special things in Pullman, in my opinion. He's a elite offensive mind. He was with Kalen DeBoer at Fresno State. He was at Boise State for a minute. Then he was obviously in Missouri with Eli Drinkowitz. And so he's been around really good football in the SEC. Just talking to him a little bit in the process, he really wanted to get back into the Northwest. And I think he has some big plans for Washington State. I'm excited for him.
That's pretty sweet. You've got the bowl game coming up, Washington State and Utah State. Like, what is the most interesting element that you're going to be paying attention to as an analyst for that game?
Yeah, I'm going to be totally honest with you, Chad. Like, this is just one of it's the nature of college football, right? Like, Washington State is playing with an interim head coach that's the current defensive coordinator, Jesse Bobbitt, who's already said he's going to be the defensive coordinator at Iowa State, and an offensive staff that is not going to be retained by Jimmy Rogers at Iowa State. So you basically have all these coaches that really have no tie to this game, frankly, other than their connection with the athletes. And I think that's obviously very strange. But so for me, it's how do the athletes respond? How does a guy like Zevi Eckhouse, the senior quarterback who's got, he's got no football in the Crimson and Gray left after this game, like, how does he handle this? How does he kind of lead the team through this, right? There's guys that have announced they're in the transfer portal, but they're going to play, right? Like, for Washington State, I hope that it's the best version of what it could be, which is that they get to wear, the Cougar Head logo one more time and go out and compete and play hard and get a win. And, for Utah State, it's a chance for them to really build under Bronco Mendenhall. And so it's a little bit of this push-pull of where's the motivation come from, right?
Yeah.
For each team, particularly Washington State. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, especially from the Washington State side.
All right, we got the college football playoff, Alex, which will kick off on Friday. Alabama and Oklahoma. I just want to work through each of the games just to get a quick take on what you're looking for from each game. But we'll start with the Sooners and the Tide. What are you going to be looking for here?
Well, I mean, to me, this is kind of a quarterback matchup for me, right? I love both Ty Simpson and obviously know John Mateer very well. I feel like Mateer, with the injury to his hand at one point this year, he hasn't been quite as dynamic as I would have expected, right, for various reasons, and not all on him. But he's got to really play well if they're going to win this football game. And then Ty Simpson, he's been at times a revelation under Kalen DeBoer and, had some really good moments. And then at other times felt like maybe he was what's holding back that offense, for the Crimson Tide. And he's playing a really good defense in Oklahoma. So I'm kind of seeing who steps up, in this obviously huge opportunity that they have. And these are two quarterbacks that want to play on Sundays. They got to find a way, to kind of be the straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah, no question about it. Ole Miss and Tulane, two interesting quarterbacks with Trinidad Chambliss and Jake Retzloff. What are you looking for here?
Yeah, it's a fun offensive matchup for sure, and obviously two teams that are going through challenges around the around the coaching situations and coaching changes and all of the things. I'm looking to see if the Ole Miss defense shows up. They have Washington State saw them earlier this year. On tape they stand out as just having all this talent and all this physical ability, but at times they've not been very consistent, and I think that's a real concern. Against going against Tulane, who can be pretty high powered with Retzloff on offense. So, let's see if that Ole Miss defense kind of plays up to their abilities.
All right. What about Oregon and James Madison? And for James Madison, that's a squad you saw just a couple of weeks ago on the call.
Yeah, this game's really interesting to me because, I think if you're looking at betting lines, they would say that Oregon's going to walk all over the Dukes. And I don't know that it's going to play out like that in the sense that James Madison's a very experienced football team, super hard-nosed on defense, and they got some real playmakers on offense. I mean, Oregon is very clearly the better roster, but, there's been moments where the Ducks have not played their best football throughout the year. And so getting the home playoff game is obviously huge. Autzen Stadium is a hard place to play, but, this is not going to be a walk in the park for the Ducks by any means.
All right, finally, A&M and Miami, and I don't know what it is about this game, but it's my least favorite of the first four, which is kind of bizarre. But what's your take here with two teams? Miami, a lot of people are frustrated they're in, but they've been strong at the line of scrimmage throughout the year, and the Aggies really surprised the heck out of everyone with their run through the SEC this year.
They did, but again, kind of, it felt like towards the end, maybe a little bit of an inability to kind of finish as strong as you would have thought, right?
Yeah, I agree.
For Texas A&M, and so, in that sense, with Miami, it kind of getting in and getting this momentum to get into the playoff. Like you said, they're pretty strong at the point of attack. They got some guys offensively that have experience in this, and they kind of know what they're doing. I would not be surprised by any means if Miami sneaks up and surprises Texas A&M. And I'm also like you, it's a game that I'm just not wildly interested in.
Yeah.
And so I would love to see a little chaos, see Miami and a little Mario Cristobal love make it happen.
Yeah, I'm just I'm a football fan, and for these two schools, I couldn't care less about the Aggies or the Canes. I have scars as a young child, so I hate both schools. But I want to ask you about Dante Moore because I know you're a big fan of his, and he's been terrific this year for Oregon. I want to ask you how his skills right now translate to the NFL because there are some people who think he's coming back to Oregon next year.
Well, I really think that Dante Moore's best football is ahead of him, in all honesty. And I say that because, although I really like what Will Stein does, I don't think the offense in particular it really lends towards showcasing a player's talents at the NFL level. And so, I think a guy like Bo Nix, right, he overcame some of that and got to Denver and has gotten progressively better since he was in the NFL, learning NFL-style offenses. And I believe the same for Dante Moore. I think he's going to showcase more in the NFL than he's kind of able to showcase at Oregon. Super cerebral player on top of obviously being, physically gifted. And so I'm excited. Whenever he makes that jump, he's going to get much better. I think he would benefit also from maybe another year in college, in the weight room and getting bigger and just kind of getting ready for it. But if he comes out, I think he's going to have success in the NFL. It's just I would envision it might take him a little bit of time, more so because the style of offense he's playing in at Oregon.
All right, we're talking to Alex Spring, former Coug, and with E4 Sports, our college football and NFL insider. Well, as you might imagine, my sports life right now is pretty good. The Denver Broncos have won a ridiculous 11 straight games, and they're coming off their best game of the year against Green Bay. And Bo Nix, I think that was his best game as a pro, and since Week 13, he is completing 70.9% of his passes. What are your thoughts on the improvement we're seeing from Bo and the way that Bronco team is playing right now?
Well, I think the guys around him are playing really well, and I think that's helping him with his efficiency, right? Guys like Troy Franklin are making a lot of plays. I think schematically they're finding ways to put Bo in good positions. And I think we talked about it when Nix was struggling kind of in the middle part of the year was that, he was going to have to sit down and kind of evaluate, where he was at. And as a pretty veteran player, you haven't played a lot of snaps in college. The likelihood of him figuring it out, especially with, an offensive-minded head coach and Sean Payton, I thought that was probably going to happen. But it's hard to do that on the fly. And so credit to Bo Nix for kind of figuring it out and finding a way. He looks really decisive throwing the football. I feel like they have a good mix in the way they call plays. And like I said, put him in good positions, and he's taking advantage.
I forgot to ask you, Phillip Rivers, he wasn't awful, and he put his team in a position to have a chance to win that game. I was just impressed that he did as well as he did. What was your takeaway from Grandpa Rivers out there playing against the Seahawks?
Come on, we got to play the tape from last week. I think I said he's going to play good in week 1. It'll be fine.
He did.
Just, how is he going to hold up, right?
Yeah.
How is he going to hold up? We're getting banged up because, you wake up from your first game not playing football and professional football in 5 or 6 years, you feel like you got in a 20-car pileup, in all honesty. So, it's going to be a tough turnaround, right, for Phillip Rivers. But, kind of what you would expect in the sense, he knows where to go with the football. Nothing is too big for him in that moment. But there were some times where it's he just doesn't have the juice, right, to, make some of the throws needed. But if he's on time and it works out the way it's supposed to work out, he's going to make the throw because he's a Hall of Famer. So I just thought, the storyline's fantastic and happy for him. He looked kid in a candy store out there, playing ball again.
Gosh, it's so cool. By the way, how about Josh Allen? I figured out if you get down 21 zip on the road, just go on 5 straight touchdown drives and you're going to be just fine. What about Josh Allen and that performance and that comeback against the Patriots? That he's freaking amazing, Alex.
That's just insane. Like he just, it's like he probably for him, he's like, man, I wish I could turn it on like this, like when I'm not down 21 points, But sometimes as athletes, we need that external motivation a little bit. And he is like, we've talked about some of his ability to make some different throws, and
wow,
he attacks parts of the field that other really very few guys can attack. And then you add in the mix of him being able to use his legs. It puts so much pressure on the defense, and it's almost like when he gets hot, when he gets hot, it's like the defense gets scared, right? And they're like, they can't stop it,
All right, the cameras caught him vomiting on the sideline during the game, right?
Sure.
And it was pretty disgusting. But they asked him about it afterwards. He goes, "I don't know what it is, but sometimes I just have to let it out during a game." Did you ever get real nervous and vomit either before or during football games?
I was not a vomiter pre-football games, but I played with guys that were like that. It was just like a stress reaction, or however you want to think about it. But no, I never experienced that.
All right, final football question for you. Great Thursday night game. Rams playing great football. Matthew Stafford's been awesome. At the Seahawks, who are playing great football. Sam Darnold. Like, what's your take on this one coming up on Thursday?
Oh, just heavyweight matchup. Love everything about it. It's like I'm gonna love, watching Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford going against that Seahawks defense, and ultimately that I think, some of the Seahawks struggles offensively concern me a little bit, but and although they're playing at home, this kind of feels like one of those ones that the Rams are able to figure out, right? I think it'll be tight, but I think just the holistic way the Rams are playing, some of the momentum they have, I could see them winning this one.
Hey, Alex, I love what you and your team are doing at E-Force on many different fronts, but we're now entering into the offseason. So talk to me about E-Force and their offseason football training program.
Yeah, we got a lot of great things going. Football season's obviously wrapped up for youth and high school athletes in the area. We're actually getting ready to start we call our pre-draft program. That's college players coming back, getting ready for the NFL draft and things like that. So we're excited about some of those things. And alongside of that, we have all of our off-season football development for youth and high school players. So that's 7-on-7 touch football teams. We've got individual position training. If you're a quarterback or a receiver, offensive, defensive lineman, we've got really anything, a camp or training option. If you have a young football athlete in your life, check out e4sports.com. Those things will run all the way through next summer. So, it's not just starting right away, but if you want to, after basketball, jump in the spring, we got options there. Email team@e4sports.com. We got great coaches. And then also an opportunity to get in the weight room and lift and get stronger, get faster. Obviously a core part of playing football. And you can find all that information at all of our gyms in Vancouver, in Portland Metro, Beaverton, and Milwaukee areas. Find that on e4sports.com as well.
Hey, what is the most common question that those college athletes ask you about the draft? Like, what's on their mind as they're looking ahead to the draft and how the process?
I mean, they're just trying to figure out the hardest part for a college athlete and transition to the NFL or go through the draft process is, once you get signed or drafted, like what happens then, right? And I always tell guys, you get a playbook mailed to you, and then all of a sudden you got to study it on your own, and then 3 days later you're in the facility and it's go time, right? And that's just such the year, we talked about this before, the year of playing college football as a senior or whatever, then going through draft prep, then signing with the team, and then going through the whole year. I mean, it's the longest 2 years of your life when it comes to football.
Wow. That's awesome. Alex Brink, former Coug, college football and NFL insider from E4 Sports. Alex, I appreciate it, buddy, man. Enjoy the week, and we'll catch up soon. I love talking ball with you.
Appreciate it, Chad. Take care, man.
You got it. There's Alex Brink. How good was that? All right, Knox. I know you want to talk Broncos or something out there. Call back 503-248-0620. We're going to hear from Sean Hike and our Trailblazer Insider from Rose Garden Report at 5:20, and we got Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday at 5. I appreciate your time. Maybe we've figured things out in a brand new studio today. We worked through some bugs, but we're here, and hope you're enjoying your day out there. You got the Rip City Drive on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. talking with Alex because he talking with Alex because he knows all these guys, all these quarterbacks that are in college football, and I think it's fun year to year now. Like, I'm enjoying. I know a lot of people are complaining. We got that call from Paul that don't like the changes in college sports, but I got to be honest with you. The last 2 years, last year and this season, I've enjoyed college football more than any other point in time in my life, if I'm just being honest. And I love the player movement because it allows teams that have a shortfall in talent with certain position groups to be able to go out and augment different parts of their team through the portal. And I think that's awesome. Like, you can come in now, if you're a Kurt Signetti or somebody else, and rebuild a program real quick. We saw Coach Prime do that at Colorado, where within 2 years he had his team competing for a conference title. Same thing happened with Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State. Year one was rough. Year two, they win the Big 12 and get to the playoff. So I just think that that's pretty awesome because in years past, you would have never been able to do that. And I think eventually they're going to find some common ground in college football to where it won't be the chaos and the wild, wild west that we see right now. But, you know, I got to be honest with you. And I've traveled and gone to different stadiums and been to games. I just love the way that things are going right now. We're getting big-time matchups. But most importantly, for me, it comes down really to that, playoff expansion to where now you have so many more schools across the country that have access to the playoff. I mean, we're looking at a college football playoff right now where Tulane and James Madison both made the playoff. Now, are they going to advance and win a national championship? No, that's not going to happen. But they get a chance to be a part of the dance. And with so many more teams now that have access, it creates wild interest from week 0 all the way up until championship weekend. So you've got big games that have playoff implications each and every week in college football now. So I love that because the playoff expansion hasn't diluted the games or the regular season. It is enhanced because more teams with access, more interest, more fan bases that care. It's just created a lot of fun. And we saw that again this year with so many teams right down to the wire playing for a chance to potentially get into the postseason. So I'm down. Is it perfect? No. But are we moving in the right direction? Yes. And I think the playoff field this year is amazing. I think it's going to be awesome. And if we work off of what I think is going to happen with the first round games, you can just take a glimpse or get a glimpse of what we're going to see in regard to the second round matchups, which is going to be terrific. So right now, looking at the first round games, I think Oregon's going to beat James Madison. I don't think that's a controversial statement. I think most people would agree with me. That means that we'll get Oregon and Texas Tech in the Capital One Orange Bowl on January 1st at 9 o'clock. Sign me up for that game. Texas Tech that spent a bunch of money in the portal, and because of that have an elite defensive line getting a chance to take on Oregon. Great matchup. In the other game, I expect Oklahoma to beat Alabama. They're going to host them in Norman this coming Friday. That means Oklahoma will take on Indiana, the top team in the playoff, on January 1st in the Rose Bowl. A terrific matchup. If Alabama gets past Oklahoma, you get Alabama and Indiana in the Rose Bowl. Yeah, sign me up for that. In the other game, I expect Ole Miss to beat Tulane. That means we'll get an SEC rematch in the Sugar Bowl on January 1st with Ole Miss and Georgia. Two very talented rosters. Heck of a football game. Sign me up for that. And in the other first-round matchup, you got Miami and A&M. I think the Canes are going to win that game, and they will advance, meaning you'll get Miami and Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, which will be on December 31st. So what we have, 3 games that will be played on New Year's Day, 1 game that will be played on New Year's Eve, and you've got great second-round matchups, Oregon, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Indiana, Ole Miss, Georgia, Miami, Ohio State. I mean, that's awesome. Now, the semifinal games will be played in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl on January 9th. The Fiesta Bowl will be played on January 8th. And the championship game will be back in Miami. But again, the last 2 years with the playoff expansion, that's pretty much done it for me. So love it. I like the player movement. I mean, look at what Miami was able to do. They lose Cam Ward, who was taken number 1 overall in the draft, and they go out and get a quarterback from Georgia. And it puts them right back in a position where they're able to compete. They get to the playoff, and now we'll see if they can win a national championship. You know, same thing for Oregon, right? They had Bo Nix. Then they went out and had to get a different quarterback. So they went to the land of Oklahoma to make that happen. And they got Dante Moore. And if Moore goes to the draft, then boom. They can go back to the portal and bring in Sam Levitt or Sorsby or whoever they want, right? That's what it's all about. Now, I would say I talked to Joel Gunderson earlier, and I asked him about Dante Moore, and he thinks Moore, based on what he's hearing, it's trending towards he's going to return to Oregon. That's fascinating to me. I would have thought, regardless of how much playing experience he's had in college, that Moore would probably be the number 1 or number 2 quarterback taken, probably a top 10 pick. And my whole train of thought is like, you jump into the draft if you know you're going to be taking that high because you're starting the clock on getting closer to your second deal. Now, I would say this, if I'm sitting there in a position where I might be taken by the Raiders, I might think long and hard about going back to school, you know, to try and avoid going to a franchise where you're going to be set up for failure. And I think there are 3 franchises right now you look at and think, I don't want to go there. Jets, number 1, because they're just hot garbage. They destroy quarterbacks for a living. Ownership is a mess. Front office is a mess. The Jets suck, and they have for most of my life. The Cleveland Browns right behind them. Ownership that's foolish, front office and coaching that's questionable at best, and they have a proven track record of destroying quarterbacks. Like, the guy they need is Baker Mayfield. The problem is they had Baker, and they gave up on him, and now Baker has been killing it for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So they're dumb. And then I would say on that list as well as the Raiders. A proven track record of disastrous football, questionable personnel decisions, and an owner that may be over his head just a bit. I don't care if Tom Brady's a minority owner or not. It's still Mark Davis that's in charge. I mean, the guy's got a Dumb and Dumber haircut. That's a problem. If you're an owner of my sports team and you have a haircut that came out of Dumb and Dumber, I'm not going to be cool with that. You know, there's certain things in life I need. I need my owner to be buttoned up. I don't want him to be red-faced and acting foolish during a basketball game like that buffoon for the Clippers. I don't need him to look like he came off the set of Dumb and Dumber with a bowl haircut. It's ridiculous. And not only that, but I know this for a fact because Mark Davis, he ate at, what is the name of that restaurant? He ate at P.F. Chang's in Emeryville all the time, right below the apartment in which I lived. You're an owner of an NFL team. You should not be eating at P.F. Chang's, all right? I don't need that. There's certain things in life I need. One, when I get in an airplane, I don't want my airline pilot to be tatted up and have earrings and ridiculous facial hair. I want that guy to look straight-laced. And I want my NFL owner to, you know, kind of handle himself in a certain way. That's all. I haven't checked, but I don't think Greg Penner, who's part of the Walmart group for the Broncos, I don't think he eats at P.F. Chang's. Now, I like Mark Davis. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good dude, and I feel bad for him because, you know, he was really bashed on by the people who were around his dad all the time. And Mark Davis did something his dad never could do, and he got a brand new stadium built in Las Vegas for crying out loud. That's impressive to me. So props to Mark Davis for that work. But, you know, I doubt that he's going to be able to build a championship roster with the Raiders in Vegas. That'd be my rough guess. But, again, that's just how I am. That's how I roll. I want my airline pilot to look clean-shaven and straight-laced, and I do not want my NFL owner with a bowl cut eating at P.F. Chang's. That's all. Is that too much to ask? But I would not want to be drafted, and if I'm Dante Moore and I'm like, I just go back to Oregon, make a couple of mil, play college football, get more experience under my belt, and then maybe next year I won't, you know, be subjected to playing for such a crap franchise. But the problem is, it's always the same bum-ass franchises at the top of the draft. The Jets, the Browns. It's the usual suspects every year. The crappy franchises. But I am, you know what, I've told you this before. Like, the Denver Broncos are an absolute fire right now. 11 straight wins. Bo Nix coming off the best game of his career. He's got a 70.9 completion percentage over the last, since like week 13. Like, I don't know where the Broncos are going. I don't know if they're getting to the Super Bowl or not. but they're going to get home field advantage. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride. What I have learned over the course of time in my life is that instead of trying to rush things to happen, I've learned to be able to just sit back and relax and enjoy the anticipation and the moment. And it's not every year when your football team has won 11 straight football games and is on fire. But a big game coming up this weekend, Jacksonville and Denver. Jags are on fire. They've won 5 straight. The Broncos are on fire. They've won 11 straight. If Denver wins, they're one step closer to locking up that 1 seed. And if you get the bye and only have to play 2 games and they're both at home, you got to feel pretty good about that situation. Now, I like the Seahawks to win on Thursday. The rest of their schedule is going to be very difficult the rest of the way, but the Hawks hosting the Rams, monstrous football game. But I think the Seahawks eke one out. And keep in mind, if the Seahawks are able to win out somehow, some way, they too will get home field advantage throughout the course of the playoffs. And Lumen Field is much like Mile High Stadium, a distinct advantage because it's so loud at Lumen. And the Hawks play really well at home. And with their defense, and I love this too, but same thing with the Broncos. When you got a good pass rush, they can get off so much quicker at home with the crowd noise. And you can utilize that to your advantage. But what a big year. Love the Seahawks. I'm a big fan of Sam Darnold. I'm very happy to see him playing well. And the Seahawks, look, this is what the NFL is all about. They didn't play their best game on Sunday, struggled throughout the Sunday afternoon game against the Colts, but they did what they had to do, and they made the plays that were needed to be able to win the game. And that's what I love about the NFL. Style points don't matter. At the end of the game, who's got scoreboard? They only count wins and losses. No one cares about style points. You can evaluate on style points. You can criticize teams based on style points, but in the end, it all comes down to wins and losses. So I'm pretty excited. What a huge game that is. I've got nothing but respect for Sean McVay and the Rams. Matthew Stafford probably going to win MVP this year. It sucks to see Devontae Adams go down because he's such a great player, and he and the quarterback Stafford had such a great connection. And I felt bad for Adams, too, because he was having fun, man. When you play for the Raiders and other bum franchises in bad situations, the Jets, and then you wind up in a place like the Rams with Sean McVay, and you get a chance to play in a sweet crib and play with elite quarterbacks like Matthew Stafford, he was having a blast. So I hated seeing him go down. Love the Bears and Packers game, too. What a physical football game that's going to be, and the Packers are all beat up coming out of the game against Denver. All right, reach out to me, 503-248-0620 if you want to jump on board. You can also hit me up if you have something to say on the Rip City Radio text line at 88528. Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday's coming up at 5, and then Sean Hike and our Trailblazer Insider will join the show at 5:20. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time today. Next Blazer game coming up on Thursday, tip-off against the Kings at 7. I will be live with the Rip City Drive from Moda Center at 3, and Chris Burkhart will take over with Blazers Game Day at 5 o'clock. And not that I needed more anxiety in my life, but Shacker just gave me more anxiety in my life. He reminded me that there's a Trailblazer game on the 29th. And I've got a serious problem right now because I'm supposed to be at the game. I overlooked that game, and I've got my colonoscopy on the 30th.
Well, you have to prep it.
So I don't know how I'm going to continue to do my prep from press row while I'm doing the game. Like, this is a serious problem. And even though press row is very close to restrooms, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I've got to find a way to pull it off. So if there's anyone out there, and I'm not even joking about this, like, this is a serious problem. So colonoscopy is on the 30th. Blazer game the night of the 29th.
They moved that game up 30 minutes for you.
Well, that's very thoughtful. Game's at 7:30. How in HE double hockey sticks am I supposed to continue to drink that drink and do what I'm supposed to do if I'm supposed to be on air? I don't know. I've never gone through the prep. This is my first time down this. This is my first rodeo, so to speak. Have you gone through this process before, Michael?
Twice.
Do you think it's possible for me to do what I need to do and be able to call the game?
No, I want to set up your temporary studio in one of those bathroom stalls.
And you're not joking, are you?
No, I'm not. So what do we do? Get some long cords or get some wireless? And then, I think you should do it from the toilet.
Is it possible to delay some of the things I need to do for a few hours and then resume after the game?
If you clench tight, I don't think it's possible. Medicine's too good.
Is that good?
Yeah. These aren't fiber gummies. This is real stuff.
Okay, I don't want to get too graphic, but when you say the medicine's too good, does that mean it's explosive good?
Yes, it's guaranteed to do something.
Oh, great. Gosh, dang it. I overlooked that game. I looked at the schedule real quick. I was like, yeah, the 30th works.
And it's a multi-step prep, assuming you're going to have to, do one drink and then some pills.
I hate my life. It's like there's too many things going on right now. And then I got to worry about this stupid prep. And then on top of that, coming up on Monday morning, I'm going to go in early for that guy's going to hack up my face to get the basal cell carcinoma out of there. So I'm going to be a hurting unit. I'll have the stitches in and then laboring through a blazer because there's no way you can hold it, right? It's that explosive?
Yes. Yeah. You might as well just sit on the toilet for a couple hours.
Do you think Travis mind if I just had a mobile setup in the urinal
Yeah,
or inside the stall?
Make sure you mute your mic at certain times.
I could be like Enrico Palazzo from Naked Gun. Remember that when he's like, oh, no, not Enrico Palazzo, but when Frank Drebin's in the restroom during the press conference announcing that the Queen's coming, he's in there like singing and taking a leak and stuff.
Yeah, he didn't mute his mic.
Huh. So there you have it. That is my daily dilemma right there. 503-248-0620. Oh, my great. So there you have it. That's what I'm looking at. Here is the latest comment from Duke, the UPS driver. He basically supports everything you just told me. As you know, Chad, I just went through the whole colonoscopy. Seriously, don't risk it. You will crap your pants. It is beyond violent diarrhea.
I don't think a diaper could hold it.
Dude, that reminds me of when Isaac was young and I was trying to get used to changing diapers. And there were times where he was violent and it would just shoot straight out the diaper up his back. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with you right now? Am I just going to drop you right back in the sink for another bath? I think that's the answer. It's like, son, what are we doing here? You just did something that I did not think was humanly possible with your backside. I hated that. The whole diaper thing was crazy. So there you go. I'm screwed. I love that, though. It's beyond violent.
It's not a fun. It's like, that's true. That's what you're dealing with.
Oh, great. And here's the nurse. The nurse is chiming in. You can't delay the prep. I'm a nurse, and I've done a lot of prep for colonoscopies for patient. If you're not clean, they won't do the colonoscopy. A heads up, though, if you start the clear liquid diet a few days before, chances are you won't have a lot to excrete. I don't like that word excrete. You can add that to the list of words I don't want to utter from my mouth.
So you'll have hunger pains for a couple days.
And here's another one from the 503. Chad, there is absolutely no way you could do the game and do the prep for the colonoscopy on the same night. I've done it 3 times. Okay, so there you go. I'm screwed. The game is out of the question. Hey-oh! You ruined it. I'm glad you told me because I would have gotten there and I'd be like, what am I going to do? I got a game.
You can do it remotely. You can do your work remotely.
No, I can't. I got to be a Moda. Got to be a Moda. Gosh dang it, Shacker. These are the type of things I hate in life. Like, I'm totally hosed now.
Would an 8 p.m. tip, that would have made things worse?
Any tip would have made things worse. The problem is, like, based on I've had like 7 people reach out immediately, including yourself. Impossibility. You can't do it. The word violent lets you know right away, like, it's not even possible. Everyone says the same thing. The game's out of the question. But I don't know. I've never done it before. But based on what you just told me, it's like, yeah, it's not happening.
But maybe you're stronger than the rest of us and you can hold it till timeouts.
I don't think so, dude. I ain't strong anymore. Like, I was driving home the other night, and I was getting close to the house, and for some reason, I don't know how your body knows, but it knows when you're getting close to your destination. Dude, all I know is that it was a 5-alarm code blue situation in my car. I was stiff-legged and sitting up, just clenching everything I had, just trying to hold on for another couple of blocks until I could jump out of the rig and jump in the house. I almost didn't make it. The problem is you get older and it's like your body's like, look, man, we ain't going through this routine again. This is an immediate situation.
Yeah. And your procedure prep is that times 11.
There you go. I'm getting educated right now on the program. There you go. I didn't know. I don't know these things. Never been through the process. Here's another chime in from Duke. You get to the point where it hurts to wipe, so you end up jumping into the shower every time you go to the bathroom. It sucks, dude. It sucks.
I'm glad he said it, but yep, that's true.
Someone told me that Vaseline was recommended.
Oh, I just went with water and soap. I gave up on toilet paper at some point.
Dude, I know I promised my brother I may bail on the whole situation now, just risk it. The more I think about it, like, guys, it's not my game. I don't need this. I don't need this, man. You just got to find a way to get through those 2 days, and then it'll be fine. Because you said once you wake up, you're fine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
As Tina Turner would say, I need a hero. All right, 503-248-0620. Duke, I appreciate you chiming in, my brother. You helped to Duke, I appreciate you chiming in, my brother. You helped to solidify the situation I knew I was in. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Sean Hiken at 520. We have Trailblazer tickets to give away, and let me tell you which game so you can be fully prepared. Orlando, the Magic, and that game's going to be on December 23rd at Motor Center. That's coming up in a week. So your chance to win a pair of tickets for Orlando is coming up next. All you have to do is listen to me for your chance to win. All right, the Trailblazers are going to get 2 more days off. They're going to take on the Kings coming up on Thursday at Motor Center with a tip-off at 7. Chris Burkhart will have Blazers Game Day live at 5. And I'll have Rip City Drive at 3 on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. And I'll talk with former Blazer coach Mike Dunleavy at 420 as we get ready to honor the 99-2000 Trailblazers on Monday. Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday is coming up next on the Rip City Drive. Just listen to me for your chance to win. College football playoff will kick off Friday night, Oklahoma and Alabama. We got a triple header on Saturday, including James Madison and Oregon from Autzen. Make sure you join me Saturday. Come on down to Spirit Mountain Casino. I'm going to be live from noon to 3. I'll have giveaways. There's going to be drink specials and more. 18 screens, and they'll have the Duck game on a 165-inch big screen. Spirit Mountain Casino is your place to bet on college sports. Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday is coming up next. All right, I had Shacker buy me a couple extra minutes there right before the update because I'm in the process of rescheduling. I appreciate all your help and your input on the upcoming colonoscopy. Never done it before, never been through the process, don't know what to expect. I'll tell you what I don't need in my life, doctors and nurses chiming in with all the details. Like, I want to know, but I don't want to know in depth all of the nitty-gritty titty. Like, I don't need that in my life. I don't want to know all of the details. That's a little bit too much for me to handle. So, anyways, I'm going to reschedule. I'm not going to risk it, and I'm not going to miss a Blazer game so someone can violate me. I'm not doing it. I refuse. So I'll just reschedule to a time where I've got a couple of days. And besides, I'll do it on a couple of days, like in January, where I can, have a couple of days off from work anyways. So there you go. That's my plan. But I couldn't have done it without you. See, this is how radio, we help each other, right? I have a problem. I present my problem, and then you guys respond and chime in. And I would say Duke, the UPS driver, along with Shacker's influence, is what really turned the knob for me with the word violent. Because I know what that means. We've all been in a violent situation trying to get to the restroom, all right? We all know what that means. Violent, meaning you better get in there right now or something really bad's about to happen, okay? So there you go. All right, Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday. Tickets for the Orlando Magic to give away. That game's coming up next week. And again, this is courtesy of your Portland Trailblazers and me. Now, the funny thing is, Shacker just asked me, he goes, hey, do you have a login and a password for the Wall Street Journal? I'm like, no. And I've had people reach out because I have subscriptions to a lot of sports things. And so I have people that will reach out to me because they want to read a particular article, but they don't want to pay for the article, so I copy and paste it. I'll do that for certain friends. And then there's certain people that I won't do it for because I know they're just being really cheap. But no, I don't have one for the Wall Street Journal. But apparently there's an article saying that, how is it titled, Shacker, that Chauncey Billups going to walk away scot-free?
Yeah, Chauncey Billups will walk is the headline, so I want to read it.
Chauncey Billups will walk is the headline. Very interesting.
Posted today.
And when they say walk, that means exonerated.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculing the Department of Justice.
Interesting. Unfortunately for Chauncey, like, even if he's exonerated, like, what are the odds he'd be the coach of the Trailblazers again? My guess would be not very good. But I love Chauncey, so I hope that is the case, that he will walk and that he'll be exonerated from the charges. And besides, I don't want to live in a world where Chauncey Billups was luring people into crooked games. Like, I just, you know what? As I've said before, ignorance is bliss. And if that was the case, I don't want to know. There's certain people, like, I held and have continued to hold certain people in a certain light. My dad would be one because he's such a rock. I love my father. My Nana, she was an angel. So if my Nana was scandalous at a younger age, I don't need to know and want to know. I don't care because I just want to keep the image I have of Nana in my mind. Same thing with my dad. If he was a little bit squirrely when he was younger, don't need to know now. Don't care. It's in the past. I just want to keep the image and the thoughts that I have about that person straight. Same thing with Chauncey. I love Chauncey. So I don't want to have those images in my mind. All right, Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday. We'll keep this fairly simple for you. We'll keep it very simple. What we're going to do is we're going to open this up to the Rip City Radio text line. The Rip City Radio text line. It's 88528. And the 20th person to text, "Show me your blazer," to 88528 right now will receive a pair of tickets for the Magic and Trailblazers. So text 88528. 20th person to text, "Show me your blazer," is going to get a pair of tickets for the Magic and Trailblazers. 88528 is the text line. Fire away with your text right now. 20th person to text, "Show me your blazer." You're going to get a pair of tickets for the Magic and Trailblazers. Rip City Radio text line 88528. 20th person to fire away, "Show me your blazer," to the text line will get tickets. And there you go. It's that simple. All you have to do is text "Show me your blazer" to the Rip City Radio text line 88528. There you go. We good now? And I will collect the 20th person to do that. And then Shacker is going to bust you off a phone call to get your information. And don't forget, each and every Tuesday throughout the entire basketball season is Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday here on the Rip City Drive. Your chance to get tickets to each and every home game that the Trailblazers play this year. So one more time, 88528, 20th person to hit me with "Show me your blazer" at 88528 will get a pair of tickets for the Magic and the Trailblazers. All right, there you have it. So the Blazers back home against Sacramento on Thursday. It's a possibility, and we'll get more from Sean Highkin coming up here in 10 minutes on the availability of Drew Holiday. I just know that Drew Holiday and Matisse Thybulle are very close to making a return, and Scoot Henderson's not far off. And so, again, I just want an extended stretch this year of seeing the guys healthy so they can get back to playing the style of basketball that they intended to play coming into the year, which is terrific. That's what I really want. So I'm excited about the team. Thought the game against Golden State on Sunday was terrific. Great offense, good ball movement, 30 assists on 45 made shots. Jeremy Grant was sensational in the fourth. Shaden Sharp was sensational in the third. And Denny Avdia just did Denny Avdia type things throughout the game with the points, the rebounds, and the assists. And the physicality that Donovan Clingan and Robert Williams III brought to the game I thought was terrific. And Trav and I will get into that with the Section 113 podcast coming up at 6 o'clock. But there you have it. 88528, "Show me your blazer." Fire away right now. We'll get your information. Shacker's going to give you a phone call, and then you get a pair of tickets for the Magic and the Trailblazers. But for the games that are coming up on Friday, again, I'll be down at Spirit Mountain Casino on Saturday, and I'm going to broadcast from noon until 3. So I'll be down there for the college football playoff. The Ducks game will kick off at 4:30. So come down and join me. I'll have some giveaways. There'll be some drink specials, and you can watch all the games. There's a triple header on Saturday for the playoff. But if you haven't been down there, it's a Vegas-style sports book with big cushy chairs, a place where you can hang out and relax and be able to enjoy yourself, and 18 screens. And you can, if you like to get in on the action, they've got a walk-up counter where you can place your bets. They've got the kiosk machines. They've got parlays, teasers, totals, prop bets, in-game betting, everything you could possibly want in one spot. And more importantly, you'd be away from the home, which means you wouldn't have to worry about the nagging to get the honey-do list done. So I'm here to help you enjoy your college football Saturday with the playoff. So if I can help you and put you in a position to have success that day, then come down and join me. I'll be there from noon until 3, and it's a great spot. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to watch the football. And the great thing about the Ducks this year, especially with their play at the line of scrimmage, I think they can compete with anybody in the playoff field. They've got a legitimate chance to make a run at a championship. Love their coach, big fan of Dante Moore, but most importantly throughout the year, what I've noticed the most is the play of their offensive and defensive lines. I think they got a talented receiving core, love their tight ends, but that strength at the line of scrimmage is much needed because all the other good teams, Indiana, Ohio State, Texas Tech, Miami, Oklahoma, Alabama, they're all strong at the point of attack. You've got to be strong at the point of attack to win a national championship, and I think the Ducks now are squarely in that type of position to be able to do that, which is going to be terrific. Also, quick reminder, too, in case you were wondering, the NFL now that we're moving into the middle part of December, we're going to have some Saturday games coming up. And that's going to be the case coming up this weekend. We got the Thursday game, which is epic, Rams and Seahawks. I like Seattle in a close one. 2 games, both on Fox on Saturday. 2 o'clock kickoff, Eagles and Commanders. Philadelphia is favored by 6.5 on the road. And then you got this classic matchup at 5:20. Packers at the Bears. Green Bay favored by 1.5, and you've got them vying for the division title. It doesn't get any bigger than that. So we got a great weekend of football coming up between the NFL and the college football playoff. All right, when we come back, we'll take a listen to our Trailblazer insider, Sean Highkin. We'll find out what the box is all about, and we'll get the latest on the guys who are out. Drew Holiday, Matisse Thybulle, Scoot Henderson. When are they going to be back? Sean Highkin's up next. I appreciate your time. Shacker will be calling the winner here momentarily for Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday. There's Sean Hyken. I really like Sean. Doing a heck of a job covering the Trailblazers, writing for things settled down after a couple of mishaps with the new studio. I got my colonoscopy rescheduled for early January to fit a better time frame. So what I did is I've got a 3-day, I don't know how this is possible, but there's 3 days during a week in January where there's no Trailblazer games. And so I scheduled it for a Wednesday. And so that way I'll be able to have Monday, Tuesday to stay close to the porcelain god based on the input that I received from you.
Are you going to do a workout after because Wednesday's your workout day?
I'll probably have to change the workout time frame. I doubt I'm going to be able to pop out of amnesia, or not amnesia, but anesthesia, and then be able to jump into a workout. It's probably not advisable.
You probably shouldn't do squats when you're prepping.
That's true. That is true. Now, did you contact the winner for the tickets?
Yes. They were super happy.
What's the name? I just had a phone number, so I don't know the name. But congratulations. Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday, every Tuesdays here on the Rip City Drive. I do know the area code was a 702, wherever that's from. Where's a 702 area code? 702.
Doris from Portland.
Ah, Doris. Congratulations, Doris. 702 area code. Oh, yeah, it's Las Vegas. Duh. Las Vegas area code. But Doris, congratulations. I hope that you enjoy your time at the Trailblazer game coming up on the 23rd against the Orlando Magic. Telephone number is 503-248-0620. I'll be back, of course, Rip City Drive tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And then we're going to be airing a couple of classic Trailblazer games on Sunday starting at 1 o'clock, and it's going to run throughout the entire day. And with the broadcast, are you doing pre-game and post? How did you set up the broadcast, Jacker?
The full broadcast. Courtside with Mike Rice to fifth quarter with Michael Thompson.
That's perfect. So what we're doing here is that the Trailblazers are going to be honoring the 99-2000 Trailblazers on Monday. So in preparation for that on Sunday, we're going to air 2 games from that playoff run. The closeout game in the semifinals against the Utah Jazz, Game 5. I was actually at that game in person. And then Game 6, Western Conference Finals at Rose Garden against the Lakers. Both games are a Trailblazer win, but we're going to air pre-game and post. So you get a chance to hear the entire broadcast. And we're going to do that on Sunday starting at 1 o'clock. So we'll have NFL football at 9:30. And then the throwback Trailblazer games will start at 1 o'clock in preparation for the celebration on Monday. And then I've got Mike Dunleavy, who's going to join the show on Thursday at 4:20. And I'll have a couple of other individuals from that era between that. And then Saturday not morning, but from noon to 3, I'll be down at Spear Mountain Casino. And then Saturday not morning, but from noon to 3, I'll be down at Spear Mountain Casino with some goodies, hanging out, broadcasting, and preparing for the Oregon James Madison game with the college football playoff tripleheader. Hope you're enjoying your Tuesday out there. 503-248-0620, or you can hit me up on the Rip City Radio text line at 88528. I love Kenny Loggins. I just saw this come across my timeline on Twitter. The Broncos are going to host the Jags this weekend. Is that the last time they played in Denver? Is that even possible? No, it's not. Anyways, this is a highlight from the worst. You know, I saw this. Someone asked the question, your worst sports moment of your life. This was mine right here.
Trying to keep the ball away from Elway. Brunell slips away. What a move. Still on his feet. To the sidelines at the 40. Another block. Brunell 30, 25, and dives at the 21. Oh, my. What?
Yeah, that was awful. The Denver Broncos in 1996 were the number one seed in the AFC, got a bye week, and then hosted the upstart Jacksonville Jaguars in the second year of their franchise and lost the game. And that was the moment when I thought Elway was never going to win a Super Bowl. I was devastated. I think I was 21 at the time, like literally devastated with that loss. And then come to find out the Broncos kind of regrouped, and then they came back the next year and won the Super Bowl as a wild card team, which was pretty awesome. And I didn't know this at the time, what I thought was the most devastating loss, and it was awful. But I ended up talking with Rod Smith, who was on the Broncos at that time, and he told me that loss actually was the reason why they were able to win back-to-back Super Bowls. That after that game and the devastating impact that loss created, it forced Mike Shanahan and the organization to change the way that they did everything. They went with a new logo and new uniforms. Shanahan became more of a power-running football coach and implemented that into his West Coast scheme with Terrell Davis. And he went out and got some different guys to bring in on defense, including Neil Smith, and the rest is history. But, boy, that was a gut puncher right there. We can all think back to games with our teams where you're like, wow. Also, Warren Sharp puts out Troy Aikman's willingness to call out the league for dumb rules, call out refs for bad calls, call out QBs for poor play, and call out coaches for bad decision-making, quickly vaulting up the ranks of best color analysts. I would agree with that. I think Troy Aikman on the Monday Night Football broadcast is top-notch. It's legitimately awesome because he's not out there trying to sugarcoat or protect anyone. He's just calling it how he sees it. He and Joe Buck are awesome. I mean, ESPN hasn't done a lot of good things recently, but securing those two to take over Monday Night Football was genius. Those guys are great. I mean, great. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. You can hit me up on the Rip City Radio text line at 88528. 88528. Rip City Drive tomorrow will be at 3 o'clock. And I'm still trying to figure out what Kenny Dillingham's going to do. ASU better jump on this and get it right with Kenny Dillingham. Because there are a number of Michigan fans, including Dave Portnoy, who want Dillingham on the Michigan sidelines.
I can tell you there is panic from what works on social media. Is there any part of you that wants to try to put that to bed for the fan base?
I think my job is to try to do whatever I can for the people that are with me, right? The people that are in the foxhole, the coaches that are in the foxhole with me, is I got to do whatever I can to fight for those people, for my family, for everything from that perspective. And kind of, and I love it here. I've said that since day one. That's absolutely never changing. Absolutely never changing. So, yeah, that piece is never changing.
There you go. Kenny Dillingham. Very smart. Doing a heck of a job at ASU, and he's trying to crank up the pressure on the organization to make sure that they have the support they need to build a championship team. 503-248-0620. Also, Mark Schlereth, former Bronco. He's walking around his radio station asking the guys if the Broncos are the best team in the NFL. Are they? 12-2, 11 straight, coming off a win over the Packers. And Bo Nix has been one of the best quarterbacks over the last month of the season.
All right, Stink. Broncos best team in the NFL, yes or no? I know everybody here in Denver is going to say, yes, absolutely the best team. They're the best team in the AFC without question. But I don't think they're the best team in the league right now. I think that goes to the LA Rams. I think the LA Rams playing unbelievable football. Quarterback is playing just unreal. Puka Nacua, their tight end formations using multiple tight ends are great. And that's a really good defense as well. So if I was going to give you the best team in the NFL, I'd probably go with the Rams. I think are the best right now. But the Broncos certainly the best team in the AFC and certainly line up and can play against anybody and have a chance to win without question.
Hey, Stoke, you think the Broncos are the best team in the NFL right now?
You're damn right they are.
Hey, Mike, you think the Broncos are the best team in the NFL right now?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that was a huge win over Green Bay. You're talking.
I love it. Getting their takes on it. I don't know where I come out on the Broncos. Like I said, I'm just, as a sports fan, I've learned you guys sit back and just enjoy the moment. You know, they're going to get the number one seed in the playoffs, and then the pressure is going to be on because when you get the home field advantage, you get the number one seed, the opportunity is right there for the taking, and you got to jump on it. They're showing the highlights of that Bills-Patriots game right now in the studio. I still can't believe that the Bills came back to win that game. Down 21-0 and just getting smoked. Travion Henderson's having a day, and then Josh Allen just authored 5 consecutive touchdown drives. That's the guy who scares me the most is Josh Allen. You know, the Bills, not the best team, but they've got the best player. But Josh Allen, unique ability, great arm strength, mobility, toughness. And he does it in poor elements, too. It's not like this guy's playing in a dome. And that was some rough weather out there in New England on Sunday. He's out there just wheeling and dealing. But, man, Josh Allen's awesome. And he's out there vomiting on the sideline, goes back in, another touchdown. He's just a super stud. Big fan of Josh Allen. And I think the Patriots have been great this year, too. Like, I love what they've done. You know, Mike Vrabel, this team's probably ahead of schedule, a lot of young players. You know, they're still kind of piecing everything together. But, man, Drake May's been solid. They've been a sound football team. I've been impressed with Mike Vrabel, done a heck of a job. I didn't expect the Patriots to be this good so soon. But there's a lot of good stories like that around the NFL. Now, I don't know how you feel about this, but, you know, do you feel like are the playoffs any different without Mahomes in there? I think there's enough good teams and good players where, you know, without the Chiefs, it's no problem. And we're still going to have Josh Allen. A lot of good quarterback play, and we get a chance to see what some of these young teams can do, like New England and like Denver. And I've been proud. I'm a big fan. I like Trevor Lawrence. I've been happy to see him playing so well. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in football over the last month. All right, big thanks to Michael Shacker, our engineer Joe Standish for doing a good job today, kind of guiding us through this studio switch. Big thanks to our guests, Sean Hyken, Joel Gunderson, and, of course, Alex Brink. We appreciate that. Coming up tomorrow, Rip City Drive will start off at 3, but big thanks to all of you. I appreciate you listening. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow here in your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.